A typical murderer operates on a very simple premise: do not get caught. They destroy evidence, stick to the shadows, and do everything in their power to disappear from the public eye. But in the late 1960s, against the backdrop of Northern California's counterculture, someone broke that rule. Calling himself the Zodiac, this attacker didn't want to hide. He wanted an audience. He wanted to be remembered. Standard investigative techniques are designed to track individuals who prioritize concealment. When an assailant chooses to step directly into public view to force a dialogue, those established protocols lose their primary point of leverage. The first confirmed attacks happened in 1968. He targeted young couples parked along remote stretches of road, far from witnesses or help. Detectives arrived at these isolated crime scenes and found almost nothing to work with. There was no obvious motive, barely any physical evidence, and an assailant who easily vanished into the dark. As the investigation stalled, the focus of the police shifted from identifying a specific suspect to attempting to predict the location of the next attack. The violence in 1968 established the physical threat necessary to launch a psychological campaign against the wider public. He changed his tactics by opening a direct line of communication with regional newspapers. These handwritten letters to editors were filled with taunts, exact victim tallies, and signed with his distinct crossed circle symbol. His demands were explicit: print his messages on the front page, or he escalates the killings. By tying his violence directly to their printing press, he forced the regional media to act as his personal public relations firm. Residents across the Bay Area were suddenly waking up to headlines dictated by a murderer. They consumed his threats with their daily news. The distribution network of the regional press enabled the attacker to amplify localized crimes into a citywide experience. The threat moved from isolated roads directly into every home that received a morning paper. This cipher grid is one of several complex cryptograms he mailed alongside his letters as a secondary layer of manipulation to tease the authorities. These dense grids of abstract symbols turned a homicide investigation into a dark public puzzle, challenging anyone to crack his code. When civilian codebreakers finally managed to decipher one of the cryptograms, investigators hoped they were about to uncover his real name. Instead, the translation revealed a very different message. It read, "I like killing people because it is so much fun." That single sentence clarified his entire operation. The physical act of murder was secondary. The elaborate game of cat and mouse was the true motivation. This official wanted poster shows how the public nature of his crimes generated an overwhelming police response, flooding switchboards with suspect tips. But a shifting physical description and his careful evasion tactics meant the investigation continually came up empty. And then the confirmed killing stopped. Just as abruptly as he had started, the physical attacks ceased, yet no suspect was ever arrested. Because the physical trail went cold, while his letters remained fixed in the public consciousness, the lack of resolution ensured his story would survive long past the 1960s. The murders ended, but the sense of fear remained. The architect of the terror was still out there, completely unidentified. A typical killer needs the shadows to survive. The Zodiac required a spotlight. He deliberately traded his anonymity for a media spectacle. By designing his crimes specifically to hijack the daily news, he proved that a killer's most effective weapon can simply be our attention.